the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences 25th Annual Academy Awards.
I'm working on a novel. It is a story of my life and my sister's.
Make it short and spicy. And if the main character is a girl, make sure she's married by the end.
Here's Marshal Jojo. You're our top man. Prepare to leave the house.
Today you boys will be involved in such activities as war games, ambush techniques, and blowing stuff up.
I don't think I can do this.
Was?
Seems this world got you down. You're feeling bad vibrations.
Me an actor?
No, I'm a stuntman.
Girl, look at me.
So you still with Rick, huh? Still here.
You can do anything you want to him. I hired you to be an actor, Rick, not a TV cowboy. You're better than that.
Now, a special program in living color on NBC.
Live, the 44th Annual Academy Awards presentation.
Check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
It's so awful, isn't it?
In your own time, gentlemen.
Must be something big if the general's here.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
We've got orders to cross here.
That is the German front line.
If we're not clever about this, no one will get to your brother.
Frank Sheeran. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you said right.
Under the contract, management can only fire a driver on very specific charges. So, you ever show up late?
No.
Do you have any moving violations?
No.
Do you drink on the job?
No.
You ever hit anybody?
On a job?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, then. We don't have nothing to worry about.
Woody? Why am I alive? You are a toy. You belong to Bonnie. These are your friends.
Woody, I have a question. Well, actually, not just one. I have all the questions. How many? How many? How many? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. What did I get up to?
Movie watching is a sport.
You know that's right.
And on this episode of How Many, the only podcast on the internet that counts
and watches,
we are going to talk the 2020 Oscars. That's right. Tomorrow night, if I get this uploaded in time, is the 2020 Oscars. I will probably not be watching. There's no host. I just don't really care.
There's no host?
They've done that for a couple years now, ever since Kevin Hart got booted off.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
But there's still going to be a lot of shtick with the presentate, like the presenters and stuff.
Yeah. He's fresh off of his Golden Globe.
Hell yeah.
Public shaming
roasting
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood.
That was one of the greatest moments of my entire life.
They may as well just move that to Comedy Central and just call it the roast of Hollywood.
Dude, that would be Shake Laugh just to have him come out and roast Hollywood over and over again.
How about you? Will you watch it?
I will be out of town, but if I was in town, I would probably watch it. At least watch towards the end is when they get to the big awards.
Right.
So I may skip out on all of the low end awards.
Well, they usually do a couple, like the supporting actors early, like to kind of keep you watching.
And my favorite part is always the in memoriam too. I I want to see who gets acknowledged and who gets glove slapped.
Who gets glove slaps?
Yes.
Like,
How about you, Bob?
yeah, I mean, my parents used to always watch it, made kind of a big deal out of it when I was a kid, so I always have kind of enjoyed watching it. But like you're right, it was better when you had a host and it'd be like somebody like Steve Martin or Billy Crystal or somebody like that. But yeah, I'll still watch.
Gary?
Never seen it, never will.
Wow,
All right.
ever.
Wow.
I used to watch it, and I also, when I have a interest in one of the films, like if I'm really excited about a film, then I tend to watch it with this whole, like local mentality, like I'm cheering for.
Like you're rooting for that
rooting
movie
for
to
a film
win.
or something.
Now,
so.
do you like the Oscars more or less than the Golden Globes?
The Oscars a little bit. I don't watch either one of them anymore.
Golden Globes is good because they're always usually drunk because they serve them during the show.
And I like the Golden Globes because it incorporates television in addition to the films, which means that they have more major awards actually presented on the ceremony.
Less filler.
Yeah, versus all of the filler awards that nobody cares about.
They don't have to make it 3 hours long. They choose to have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, for me, it's funny because when I was younger, I couldn't have possibly cared less about this stuff.
Right.
It didn't mean I don't care who was the best actor. I don't know. I watched some movies. I knew what I liked. So it didn't really matter what anybody else thought. As I got older, I guess this stuff, I sort of do pay a little more attention to it now, but I still have zero interest in watching the actual show, especially now with the way that I can get anything I want on Twitter or whatever.
Yes.
If there's something funny that gets said, or like the whole Ricky Gervais speech at the Golden Globes, I got to see that the night that it happened without actually having watched the Golden Globes.
Viral.
So that to me is a big benefit to the way we get to consume media these days, is that I don't have to sit through 3-hour award shows.
Just show me the
to
YouTube
see what
clips.
I want to see. Yeah.
Now, if Springsteen had performed on the Grammys, or if I'd known if Western Stars had been nominated for something on the Grammys, I probably would have watched it, for that. Or I sat through the Tonys because Springsteen was going to perform a couple of years ago. I don't I used to watch a lot and I used to care, but just over the years, and I do think Gary's got a good point with the internet. It's just so easy. It's kind of the same way. You don't have to watch the Super Bowl to see the commercials because they're all available online.
And they release them before the game now, so what's the big deal?
It's almost kind of like the way we ingest Saturday Night Live now. Like nobody that I know really watches the entire episode of Saturday Night Live. They just
they
go
got something special like when Eddie Murphy was
Yeah,
and that was a really good. I mean, it's like they ramped the game up because of his, and I still think, I think the little 4 or 5 minute Christmas where he's at the dinner and they're showing all the flashbacks of that's as creative, as funny as anything I've seen.
But they knew like a year ahead of time that he was going to do it.
Yeah.
So they didn't spend 1 or 2 weeks writing those sketches.
Right.
They spent a year prepping that show.
Mm-hmm. So that said, what we thought we'd do is go through the big awards. Nothing against film editing. I know you're important. Nothing against foreign films. We appreciate
Best
all
grip.
of you. Yeah, but we're just going to go through some of the favorite. Let's start with the animated feature film. The nominees are Toy Story 4, I Lost My Body, Clyus, Missing Link, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World.
I've only seen 2 of those. If I was going to make a bet, I would say Toy Story 4 is probably going to take this, although I think in the Golden Globes, I think Missing Link is actually what won. I saw the How to Train Your Dragon movie. It was pretty good, but those movies all kind of run together. There's not a lot of deviation in the plots and the storylines in those movies. But Toy Story 4, I thought, originally when that was coming out, I thought, man, what more can they add to this storyline? I think that's something we talked about in our last movies, How Many.
Like the other one was like some social, it's a big benefit to the world. What more can they add to that?
Yeah, because Toy Story 3 ended with what you would have thought was a conclusion of the entire story. The toys got moved to a new family, and the kids
moved on to college.
the kids' timeline had gotten to the point where they were basically moving him off. But the way they handled Toy Story 4 felt very refreshing, and I like that they kind of concluded Woody's story in the process.
Yeah, I did like that. I thought it was nice that he kind of found his own way, and it was good. So I would pick Toy Story 4 too. You have either one of you?
Now, Bob saw Missing Link, right?
I saw 4 of the only one of those I didn't see was I Lost My Body, because with my kids I'm always seeing all the animated. Klaus was a Netflix movie.
Is that the German one? I like that.
It's about Santa Claus, and it was actually kind of well done.
It's not the talking fish from American Dad?
No, not the talking fish. That's a good stick though. You were right. Missing Link won the Golden Globe. That's the one with Zach Galifianakis as Bigfoot.
And Wolverine, right?
Yeah, Wolverine was the guy that was trying to bring him back. But yeah, the only one on those I didn't really... How to Train Your Dragon, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all the same. If you'd have seen one, you've seen them all. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think either Missing Link or Klaus will probably win that.
Okay, you think not Toy Story 4? You don't
No,
think
I mean...
Pixar, is that the John Lasseter backlash?
I don't know that it's necessarily backlash. I mean, I think it was a good movie. Junior's right, it was good. But I think that they probably have already gone that route with the Toy Story.
And Gary?
I'll go with Missing Link.
Okay,
But
got
I've
it.
only seen a couple of those.
All right. Supporting actress, we have Kathy Bates in Richard Jewell, Laura Dern in Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh, Little Woman, Margot Robbie in Bombshell.
Who we just saw last night on the Harley Quinn movie.
Gary, we're going to start with you.
Well, my favorite would be to watch Scarlett Johansson with a rabbit, but
She's doing the rabbit.
The battery-operated version.
but I actually, honestly, I haven't seen any of those movies, so
okay,
you can cut that part out, Junior.
All right.
No, that's going in. I'm going to amplify
I
your
also
audio.
have not seen any of those movies, but apparently the overwhelming favorite to win this is Laura Dern. That's all the
Marriage
variety.
Story. Is
yeah,
she one
variety.
of the in-laws to Kylo Ren and
No,
Black Widow?
No, she's the divorce lawyer.
Ah, okay. So I have seen several of these movies. I saw Richard Jewell, and Kathy Bates does have some shake laugh in this movie, especially when she's doing the press conference urging President Clinton to please call off the dogs and let Richard Jewell live his life in peace. A very, very funny scene where she's crying on the podium and doing big panic face. Oh, please! Oh,
So
Mr. President!
is she
oh,
basically
oh.
doing the Bobby Boucher mama? Because Richard Jewell's kind of Bobby
it is
Boucher.
you playing that foosball, Richard Jewell? That's the devil's game. I have also seen Bombshell, Margot Robbie. I'm actually surprised that she was nominated for that role because her role in that is extremely minor. I would say Charlize Theron and Nicole Kidman's roles in that movie were more prominent than hers. She was a very small part.
Well, that's why
of
she's
that movie.
supporting.
But she was really good. Like, she would be my vote.
You saw that movie?
I did see
Was
that.
it good?
And I thought it was really good.
and
Not as good as The Loudest Voice in the Room, the Showtime miniseries.
Oh, the one where
about
Russell Crowe was the guy?
That's really good.
Now, I did like that she had at it with Kate McKinnon in that movie.
Oh, very nice.
And I liked when the guy that was in charge of the network was forcing her to do the skirt hike.
Yes.
Can I stop now? Higher. Higher.
Oh, Trinity Killer?
Yeah, Trinity Killer. Boy, he was all perved up in that movie.
Yes.
So Florence Pugh, I did not see Little Women, but she is the Midsommar woman. If she was going to get nominated for something, that is the movie that she should have been nominated for, because she was great in that movie.
So final choice?
I'm going to go Kathy Bates.
Okay,
I mean, I'm probably wrong, but...
All right. Supporting actor, we have Anthony Hopkins, The Two Popes. Al Pacino,
Derek
Irishman.
and Dusty.
Joe Pesci, The Irishman. Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tom Hanks, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Bob, we'll start with you.
I saw everything except for the Mr. Rogers movie.
You saw The Two Popes?
My mom wanted to see it. It was in Netflix. We watched it one day on Netflix. It was actually not bad. I thought
it was really good.
I thought it was going to suck, but it was pretty good. The Irishman was good, not great. For me, this is a no-brainer. Brad Pitt was the best part of that movie by far. He was awesome. And he's even, I think, the favorite supposedly to win this, which is shocking when you see I mean, look, this is like a murderer's row.
He won the Golden Globe for that, too,
yeah,
right?
but I mean, the guys that are on this, I mean, what's the combined number of Oscars those guys have won? It's incredible.
Strong,
so, yeah.
Junior?
I'm actually surprised that Tom Hanks is listed as a supporting actor when the movie is completely about him.
Well, but it's really
about the reporter.
The reporter.
The Americans
guy.
guy.
For the Americans, you know.
I mean, the movie is about Mr. Rogers, and he plays Mr. Rogers. I agree with Bob. I think Brad Pitt was the best performance on this list. I also saw The Irishman, and Pacino. His performance was okay, but his character was so annoying.
No,
Hoffa was the most annoying,
demanding ice
not
cream,
listening to anybody. People trying to throw him lifelines, give him good advice. Oh no, I'm not going to listen.
You
to
saw
that.
The Irishman, right? Yeah.
And Pesci was okay. I mean, I don't think
it
his
was.
role
It was
really
interesting
that
to see
prominent.
him play like low key. Like he very rarely played that.
So
kind
he
of,
wasn't my cousin Vinny.
No, he wasn't all like Leo Getz stuff. Yeah. He didn't have a shine box.
Gary, do you have a choice?
Mine is actually a copy and paste from Bob's. I saw everything except the Tom Hanks movie, but I thought.
You saw The Two Popes also?
Yeah, I thought Brad Pitt was fantastic. Best part of that movie, and I loved that movie. So for me, it would be Brad Pitt.
So I'm going to be the outlier. I do think Brad Pitt was really good, but I just really like Tom Hanks. And this was his first nomination in like years.
Which is shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking when you think about like he didn't get it for
Sully,
Captain Phillips,
Phillips.
A lot of different things. So I think, and maybe because I had just recently rewatched the Mr. Rogers documentary that was out a couple
Which
years
is
ago.
greatness.
It was really greatness. And to see him
And did not get nominated for the documentary that year.
Yeah, so I would, sentimentally, I think Tom Hanks is who I would vote for. I think that Brad Pitt will win, and I won't think it's a bad choice. I just, if I voted, I'd be voting for Tom Hanks.
Now I'm curious, look, since I haven't seen that, did they get into the whole thing about him being a SEAL and the tattoo?
Okay. All right, then we're going to go to actress. We have Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson, Marriage Story, what the hell?
I think it's Saoirse
Ronan, Little Woman.
That's Lady Bird, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Renee Zellweger, Judy, Charlie Theron, Bombshell.
And Cynthia Erivo, is that the lady from The Outsider?
Yes. Yeah, and she was in the Bad Times at the El Royale, yeah.
I've only seen one of these movies, so I guess I'll have to vote for the one I've seen. Charlize Theron was really good in Bombshell. I really liked that entire story, how it all played out, and I think she played that character really well. Well, real person, but...
Yeah, Gary?
These are movies that I haven't seen, except I read a lot about the Bombshell thing when they were talking about the movie itself, and having not seen them, so that's kind of stupid for me to have a vote.
Well,
that would be where my vote would go, just because some of the stuff I read about her performance.
She's really good in this. I agree. Bob?
The only one of those I saw, and y'all are going to have shake laugh again, is Judy, the Judy Garland movie. My wife wanted to see that. Renee Zellweger was really, really good in that. The movie was kind of a whip, but she was...
Gary's doing his fake Renee Zellweger. He got stung by 5 bees.
So, I mean, for me, I would, not only because I saw it, but because she was really good. And I think she's also the favorite.
Yeah, she won the Golden Globe as well.
Yeah,
she actually sang, I think.
I saw the movie. I thought it was an entertaining movie, and it also just the sadness of Judy Garland's life.
Yeah.
Made that very well.
Like, I didn't know all the backstory about how mean the director of the studio was when she was doing Wizard of Oz and stuff, and they were fat shaming her and not letting her eat French fries and forcing her with Mickey Rooney and all this stuff.
And also, it showed how much she self-sabotaged herself too.
Yeah.
So I would...
I felt bad for those kids.
Yeah.
Her kids, well, that was bad.
Now, Liza Minnelli has no love for the movie
No.
whatsoever.
Yeah, she's
I'm not
out.
talking about it, but I would pick for Renee Zellweger too, but if Charlie Theron won, I would not be unhappy. All right, so actor. Anthony Barberos.
Antonio Banderas.
Ontario, gosh. I need to make these bigger.
Well, yeah, the small print.
Adam Driver, Marriage Story. Joaquin Phoenix, Joker. Jonathan Pryce, The Two Popes. Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time. In Hollywood. I will start. I know that Phoenix is going to win because everyone is in love with that.
Golden Globe winner, too.
Though I thought I would give it to Leo if I had a vote, because I did not care for the Joker whatsoever. So, Bob?
I think this one's a slam dunk for Joaquin Phoenix. It would be one of the biggest upsets of Oscar history if he didn't win that. I mean, it's so much build up, and everybody's saying he's the guy, and he really was the best. Well, I say he's the best part of that movie, but I kind of like the little person. He was my favorite part. That one scene.
What about Murray? You're out on Murray?
Oh, De Niro. Yeah, he was all right in that too. But I understand why Jesse hated it. I mean, it's hard to view it in the context of Batman. Like, you have to almost consider it a standalone. Like, if it was
I do.
a separate.
It's a depressing film. I mean, there is no one to cheer for. There is no goodness.
Well, it's a supervillain origin story. I mean, you're not really going to have a lot of feel good.
But oh.
Yeah, but I would say him. The other ones that I saw The Two Popes, and he was all right in that. I think
Jonathan Pryce always just seems like a generic British guy.
Yeah, he's the High Sparrow, right? So I think Anthony Hopkins was better than him in that. And then Leo was good. I mean, Brad Pitt was better, but Leo was really good. He had a lot of shake laugh when he had the fit in the trailer, but raging up at himself for screwing up the line. Yeah, and don't let the Mexicans see you cry.
That was Brad Pitt.
I know, but he was the one that was.
But
crying.
He was the one crying. He has a lot of no funeral mentality early on in that movie when he thinks his career's washed up.
Gary, how about you?
It's slam dunk for the Joaquin Phoenix. Honestly, I get that the Joker it's a depressing movie. It's difficult to watch if you've known anybody that has mental illness. It's not an easy watch. There is no redeeming part. Like, Batman doesn't swoop in at the end and put him in jail. There is no redeeming part of that movie, but his performance, which is what we're talking about, was unbelievable.
It is uncomfortable how mentally unstable and how that comes across. It is a great performance because a few years ago, God, probably 20 years ago, when we were all at Bang Tech, 30-something had a scene where they were losing their company.
Yep.
They were all out of a job. And after watching that TV show, I felt like I had just been laid off and lost the job. And it was like, okay, that's really good when you can take me that.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable, I think, for that very reason. You're like, this person is so messed up.
And it's funny, too. I would suggest that from your perspective, the fact that you didn't care for the movie because of the things that you've talked about and how uncomfortable it was, that, to me, is a vote for him as that actor.
Yeah.
Because if he hadn't been that good, you'd see through the
you wouldn't buy it. Yeah,
and it wouldn't bother you internally.
I think that's a fair point.
Should he have won it solely for the bus scene alone with the
When
card?
when he's laughing uncontrollably. I am the opposite of Jesse in terms of how I felt about the Joker. I don't. It wasn't.
It's a comedy.
It was a comedy. It was not a hard watch at all. It was a very easy watch.
Now, the director was the guy that did the Hangover and a lot of those movies.
So he has a comic background, and I think it showed in this movie because there was so much shake laugh going on in this movie.
Yeah, Jesse, the scene where the midget's trying to get out of the apartment.
Listen, when he put the chain on, I started laughing. And my
You could see
daughter
it
was
coming.
with me, and she was like, why is that funny? And I'm like, just wait. Just wait.
So, one of the joys of being Junior's friend is that the more uncomfortable,
Jesse do air quotes when
the more uncomfortable, the more uncomfortable and ironic and just uneasy scene, the more Junior's gonna laugh.
Yeah, and when you're in a theater and there's a scene like that and he's the only one laughing and it's like loud.
It was genius. It harkens back to the genius of Purple Shirt.
Purple Shirt would have been a good Joker also.
His stand-up scenes were great. The crescendo when he's on Murray's show, and his joke at the end right before he shoots him. Spoiler alert! Before he shoots him, Murray's face as he's laying back with a bullet wound in his head. So much genius, so much shake laugh. Slam dunk for me too.
All
He's
right.
a definite winner.
All right, so this list does not give the name of the
director.
which is kind of
Well, some of them, I think I know most of them. Like The Irishman was Scorsese.
Yeah.
Joker was Todd Phillips. 1917 was Sam Mendes. Parasite was that Boon Joon-ho or whatever, something.
Whoa.
I can't remember what his name was. It was something.
Yeah.
The guy that Boom Boom Mancini killed?
No, not Duck Who Kim, but
Goose and goose.
and then
Tarantino,
Yeah, and
obviously.
Tarantino. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Tarantino will finally get his due and win the Best Director award. I think he's been nominated a couple of times, right? And I think he won the
He
Golden
wins
Globe.
he's won Oscars for his
Screenplay,
screenplay
right?
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he wins it.
So I think the director of 1917 will get it because
Mendes.
I think people are in love with the war movie. They're in love with it. It appears like it's one long take, even though it's not. I think that will be showy enough that it'll win for director.
It's either going to be him or the Parasite guy. Those are the two guys that are getting all the buzz. But I think 1917. I could see where...
I think 1917 will probably win the next category. But I think this is going to be Hollywood's almost Lifetime Achievement Award giving Tarantino this one.
I could see that happening, but I think what's most likely is either Parasite... I think Parasite and 1917 are going to split the director and the best picture.
Okay.
They're going to decide split the difference thing on those.
All right.
Gary?
No, I honestly, this is one of those things it's very tough because you have to look at it from a direction standpoint. Like, not just which movie was your favorite movie. Obviously, that's Best Picture. So, from a directing standpoint, I would probably lean towards 1917. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, I feel like my inclination is to say Once Upon a Time, but that's because I like the movie more.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me to really separate that in my brain. I think it's 1917.
Okay, good. All right, and so finally, Best Picture. You have more than 5. So we have Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, a feel-good collection of movies. And so let's start with you, Gary.
This is very difficult. I think it's probably Once Upon a Time, but personally I would vote for Joker because that movie, as uncomfortable as it was one of the... I don't even know. I have no idea how to describe. Because it wasn't... Like, for you, it was uncomfortable and you didn't want to watch it. I couldn't stop. Mm-hmm. If that thing had been 9 hours long, I'd have sat there for 9 hours. I was riveted by how they told that story. I thought it was really unique. Once Upon a Time was just a lot of fun. It was a fun movie to watch. Things that, stuff that you might think about, that getting to see Bruce Lee on set and having a fight. It was a lot of fun to watch. But the Joker, man, that was one of the most unique movies I've ever seen.
A lot of comic book fans that I'm friends with love the Joker as well. They felt like this was a true, similar to Nolan's Batman trilogy, it was a film. It wasn't a movie.
Yeah.
Like The Avengers is a great movie.
It's based on comic book property, but it wasn't a comic book movie.
Yes.
Like, it's not like a lot of the Marvel. It's not the entertainment wasn't at that level. It wasn't something you take your 12-year-old kid, hey, let's go see the new comic book movie. It was,
And Chris loved the Joker. I mean, he watched it and he thought it was one of the best movies he'd seen.
It's very much of the time.
Yes.
Like, that movie probably wouldn't have worked, 25 years ago. But
even though it's set like in the 80s.
It would have been NC-17.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very appropriate for now.
Yeah. And I like the premise that it is that this character influenced who later became the Joker in the Batman universe. So yeah. Bob?
So I saw 4 of these. I saw The Irishman, Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I liked all 4 of them. The Irishman a little bit less than the other 3, but to me, I think the movie I liked the most, and also that is getting the most attention, I think, is 1917. But if I would not have a problem if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won it, wouldn't have a problem if Joker won it. Those were all 3 really good movies.
Junior?
Okay, I've seen all of these except for Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, and Marriage Story. Mm-hmm. Who I think is going to win, I think 1917 will win. Yeah. They won the Golden Globe. Yeah. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's award is going to be the directing side. Right. I don't think he's going to be able to double up. So I think Tarantino will win the director, but I think 1917 will actually win Best Picture. From this list, though, one of the movies that's really underrated that's on this list that I really liked was Ford versus Ferrari. I really, really loved that movie.
So that was exactly what I was going to say. I think 1917 will win, but if I had to pick my favorite on the list, Ford versus Ferrari. It was just really well done. Made a great story.
Does it surprise you that Christian Bale wasn't nominated for Best Actor?
A little bit, but this was really kind of, I think, Damon and him were kind of a good duo.
I think I would have put Damon in definitely a supporting actor.
Yeah. It's the kind of tragedy that I like, is that he screwed himself out of a title and then ended up losing the race on a technicality. You're kind of like, you want to go back and change that. You want to go, that's so unfair. Just a really great movie and a lot of fun. Just seeing the guy running forward, being so outlandish. That was Shake Laugh to me. They doing that. By far, this is my favorite movie.
And
it was
a long movie. It was like 3 hours long, but it was one of the movies that didn't feel long.
Wasn't the guy
it never really dragged?
Wasn't this the same director as Logan? That James Mangold, I think it was. I think it was the same guy.
Probably.
See, because that would be my complaint about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I felt like it was a little too long.
There were some parts that dragged a little bit.
But you know how Tarantino is.
Exactly.
If you tell him it's too long, he'll go add footage.
So that's good.
Now, and I will also say there is a lot of talk about Parasite, being one of the best pictures. Also,
I haven't seen it.
It's good. Little overrated.
Okay.
And I've heard a lot of really, really good things about Jojo Rabbit. That's one I probably would like to try and see. That and Ford versus Ferrari, the 2 I would most like to see that I haven't seen.
Jojo Rabbit is filled with Shake Laugh because it's.
So you saw it?
I did,
yeah.
and it's.
So thumbs up.
How was Hologram Hitler?
It's just
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just uncomfortable. This whole Nazi boys camp, it's just like, see, alone that makes you laugh. It is just,
So that's what it was. It was like the Nazi Boy Scouts, pretty much.
Exactly. And
so you like that one?
It was weird, but it was okay.
Are you trying to say something, Jim?
Yeah.
Suggesting something.
There's some leanings that I didn't think I would see coming out of Jesse in his love.
No. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow night. Like I said, I'll be trying to catch up on movies and certain other stuff I need to do.
And don't forget, we still plan on doing our second half of 2019 movies, where we'll go through a more comprehensive list. Is there a movie that came out last year if you could insert it into the Best Picture nominees that's not already on here? Is there a movie that's missing? For me, it would be Avengers Endgame. I thought, even though it's a comic book movie, it's almost kiddish in a way, it was a great movie, great conclusion to that storyline. It was probably my favorite movie of the year last year. So if I could add one extra movie to the Best Picture list, it would be that one.
See, I don't know if I would put that in Best Picture so much as there's something else there. I don't know if it is screenplay or if it's where I think that would belong for me, just because it's tough from a perspective of thinking about that movie and the star power that's in it and the coming together of, all the different Avengers movies to make one big one with all of them in it. It's almost unfair from that perspective because you get so much personal enjoyment out of seeing all those people or all those characters coming together in one movie, that I think it's different than just watching the Joker, which is 90% Joaquin Phoenix just carrying this whole thing. So I don't know if I'd put it in Best Picture so much as maybe like Best Screenplay.
Is there something else that you think?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, just because my favorite ones I think of the year are already on there, and it would be difficult for me to add to that list.
If we were including Netflix movies, which obviously they are because Marriage Story is on
And
here,
The Irishman.
and The Irishman, Dolomite, I thought was a really good
fun.
movie.
Yeah, that was a funny movie.
I could see that maybe sneaking into the Best Picture as well. Bob, was there anything that you thought?
I mean, I'm drawing a blank of trying. I'm looking here at some of the stuff
One
that
that
came out
was
last year.
that was part of the Golden Globe nominees, and another one that I thought was massive shake laugh that Jesse thought was way too uncomfortable. Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah, and Adam Sandler got snubbed for the acting Oscar.
There's another one that I think could have been snuck into the Best Actor role as well.
Yeah.
That was a really good movie to me.
Yes.
Now, Jesse, you were the opinion that it was just way too tense. You definitely didn't like the ending.
I just, there's when you just see people making bad choices, it is uncomfortable to watch that. So yes.
Jesse, not a fan of Ex-Hamster. People making bad choices.
Jesse, was there any movies that you can think of that you thought should have snuck
I'm just
in
looking.
there?
Obviously that Springsteen themed 2 movies this year. The Blind by the Light I thought was really good, though I certainly know it's not worthy of an Oscar. But it was just great. I loved. I don't know what you would put Western Stars under, the documentary.
I would say it's probably a
concert
documentary.
film, but I think it was really well done, and so I would have liked to seen it.
So you wouldn't put Brightburn on the left?
No,
You
he
hate
was
Jake that
very
more than the Joker?
But I may have picked. I may have picked the Spider-Man movie a little bit over Endgame.
Far From Home.
Yeah, I really thought that was the way they handled the post-Avengers. I mean, an Endgame is alone in its greatness, but I thought that was really well done. So yeah, it was good. I liked a lot of the movies and enjoyed it. So yeah.
Another one that was underrated, although
What about Blinded by the Light?
he mentioned that.
dang it.
Listen to the show a little bit.
Grego.
No, Danny.
Midsommar also, if I was going to put a horror movie into the mix.
You love bringing that.
I love Midsommar, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that Us didn't make it in as well, because Get Out ended up being a Best Picture nominee a couple of years ago, and I think Us was about on the same par as Get Out was. I'm surprised that one didn't make the cut as well. But I could see that one making the list. But man, Midsommar, as far as horror movies go, that was probably the best horror movie I saw all year.
You know one that I really liked, but I don't think a lot of other people enjoyed it as much, was that Ad Astra, the one where Brad Pitt went to look for his dad in space. That I really thought that was well done. And you hated that, right?
No, actually, I hadn't seen Ad Astra,
Oh, okay.
but it didn't look like an entertaining. It looked boring.
I mean, it's not nonstop wall to wall action, but it was really well done, really interesting. I liked it. I thought Brad Pitt was really good in that too, and I'm trying to remember who it was that played the dad. I think it was Tommy Lee Jones that played the dad. He was pretty good. Yeah, that if there was anything that I saw last year that I thought maybe was worth some sort of consideration, it would probably be that.
The Netflix film that was about the lady who was the talk show host with
Late Night?
Yeah, Late Night. I thought that was pretty good too.
With Mindy Kaling and Emma Thompson?
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. Once again, I don't know if it's worth Oscar, but it was a movie that I enjoyed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it and to see that's in our movie thing. I am on Twitter at Jesse Jackson DFW.
Junior at Metzgen_Junior. Don't forget, you can reach out to us on the YouTube channel. You can reach out to us on the Facebook page. Email howmanypodcasts@gmail.com.
Bob, I am at Lukewarm Tallboy on Twitter. Funny story.
Gary at travel_cowboy on Twitter.
No longer Gary from the block. He's actually just
That was
Gary
just a
now.
bit joke.
But it's a little timely
Because
with
it was Garmin from Canada.
with J-Lo making her
but
Super Bowl
Shakira
appearance.
owned it, so it doesn't matter.
Whoa! Bob just started a jihad, apparently.
No fought one. No, I was doing fake Shakira there.
All right, well, we will talk to you soon, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.